Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I love when we get together on the show because you meet people that have certain jobs or they do things to support others, but you wonder how that all works. Like so many questions for especially this wonderful woman who buys homes, sells homes, renovates homes for resale. I guess we call it flips. I don't know. I'm going to find out. But she's looking for that in the call it the Central Florida area. We'll start there, and lots of questions. I really want to dig into this today. Her company is JF Designer Homes. Farah Gaston joins us here on the program. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, Steve? Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good to have you with us. And this is, you watch all those shows on HGTV at like years and years of shows that I've watched. I can roll the titles, it's not even worth it. And you see it from the showbiz aspect. But even before we get into talking today, are those shows fairly accurate in terms of what you go through?
No, not really. Most of it is completely
Yeah.
dramatized for, viewership purposes, because you're not going to be yelling and cursing at people like that in real life. Now, of course, you need to be stern with a lot of contractors and things like that, but you can't treat people like crap and think that they're not going to walk out on you.
Yeah, but there's always that things are moving along in a project, and then it's like, dum where do you get a permit? Or there's oil leaking in the ground and those big things that pop up. How often in your world, in your experience, in buying homes, renovating, reselling, how often does that like crazy stuff pop up?
That's more like a off chance, like 5% of the time. The other 95%, it's usually pretty cut and dry. Hey, we're doing the roof, we're doing the floor, we're doing the kitchen. But there is that about 5% where you're like, oh, the subfloor is completely warped, it's completely eaten by termites,
Mm.
and you don't really see those until you start tearing down walls. Then you're like, oh, we got to redo the framing, we got to redo the trusses, we got to redo the structure of the home, the integrity to make sure it doesn't fall down. But that's like
Mhm.
5%.
Have you ever, this is random, but I'm just going to ask, have you ever encountered something really weird, really unusual, even ripping into a wall and see something or just discover something odd?
Nothing behind walls, but a couple of years ago, we did buy a home from the buyer or from the seller, and he buried, I guess, his wife's ashes in the backyard. So a lot of people would not buy it because they're like, oh, that's really bad juju. And, the house is haunted. So we're like, okay, well, we're not living here. So, and we do believe in ghosts, but not that much. And we didn't see anything, we didn't experience anything.
Mm.
And after fixing it, we sold it without any issues. And the buyer never said anything about ghosts. So I don't know, but I think that was one of our weirdest encounters. But her ashes was buried in the backyard, and there was like a little cross and stick, and that said her name. And I was like, please remove that after we buy it, because I don't want the new buyer to freak out. So
Yeah.
we never told them anything. And fun fact, you do not have to disclose if there has been a murder or anything like that in a home, because it doesn't really affect the integrity of the home.
Hmm. Google is your friend, I guess, at that point, and who knows if that's even going to come up. Just brought back.
Right.
I remember talking to a construction person, actually a woman who had her own construction company, which is rare, and
Right.
she told me once they opened up a wall, and inside the wall was a creepy looking doll sitting in a rocking chair. And the workers
Wow.
wouldn't go in there. They wouldn't touch it. They wouldn't go near it. So they just closed the wall up and they just left it the way it is. And then they never went in there. Yeah, it was just so creepy. They were, these grown men creeped out by it and they just didn't, they weren't having it. They just walked away from it. Just leave it the way it is. Just patch it up and we'll move forward. Tell me, Farah, the real estate market where you are things moving forward well? Prices up, down? What's going on?
It's actually pretty steady. It's not moving too high up, but it's actually pretty decent. It's not like pre-COVID prices that low, and it's not as high as after COVID prices when, the Feds had the interest rates at 2.5% and everybody was, and their mom was overpaying for, 200, $300,000 for the houses because they could buy it literally cash. And especially if they're coming from California and New York, it's not like that anymore, but the market is still pretty steady. You're still buying homes. Where I'm at, I'm in Central Florida. I'm in predominantly Lakeland, Polk County, not too far from Orlando and Tampa. And our prices are, you can get a really amazing home for under 350,000, and you can get a nice house with a picket white fence for under 500,000. So when you want to move to Florida, Steve, I got you.
Oh my gosh, I'm in a suburb of New York, not upstate because those prices would be similar. What you're describing upstate, I'm
Yes.
Long Island, 50 miles out of New York City. Ain't nothing close to what you're talking about here. All right, beat me up a little bit more. What's your average taxes? An average home, just not high, not low, but just kind of in the medium. What do you got? What are
Average
they?
taxes for property, it's about 3,500. That's about the average.
Is that with a
Why?
home on
What's
top?
what's
Is that
your
with a home on top of the property? I'm
Yes,
serious.
that's what the home is.
Wow. All right. Long Island, you're not touching anything for less than, I'm going to say eight. And that's just a modest
Oh,
old home. Oh, yeah. Oh,
ouch,
yeah. Yeah. Tell me about it. It's crazy. It's
ouch.
crazy. So, walk us through the process of finding a home, buying it, and then renovating it. Like just the journey for you.
Okay. The journey is actually pretty simple. So typically, seller calls and say, "Hey, I want to sell my home. I'm sick and tired of it. I want, let's say for easy numbers, I want $100,000." Okay. Those sound good because anything that's under $300,000, unless it's just a tear down, it's a good deal. So we go, we take a look at the home, we assess it. Hey, needs a roof, needs flooring, needs kitchen, needs bathroom, paint inside and out, light fixtures, updated shrubberies. All right. We offer them, let's say we offer them 85 because they said the roof was new, but there's a hole in the ceiling. So we're going to have to replace the roof, and we're going to have to replace some framing too. They accept it. We buy it within a week or two if possible. If it's clean title, now if there's anything that needs to be fixed, it takes a little bit longer, but typically within 30 days, we buy the home. And then the day we sign, they receive their money. We start working. We have permits pulled if we can that day. For that weekend, we already have demo started because you can actually do demo without the permit. So we start getting it in or getting in on it. And then within, if it's a small, simple job, like I mentioned, maybe 2, 3 weeks, it's back on the market and it's ready for its forever homeowner.
Wow. You turn it around that fast?
Yes.
That's impressive. Wow.
Well,
I'm
we have, oh, go ahead.
I was just to say, unless it's something major that gets disclosed.
Yeah, that's unless it's something major, but this is under like $50,000 worth of repairs. You're talking about in and out 2, 3 weeks max. And the reason why it even takes that long is usually for the kitchen. We do custom orders for our kitchen, which is all wood shaker style. We have a guy, and he's actually more affordable than buying it in stock at Lowe's and Home Depot. So he does the measurements. We place the order within a week and a half. Kitchen's delivered. Then he does measure for the granite or the quartz countertop. That takes another few days for him to cut it up and deliver it. And that's usually what takes the longest because we have to wait on that to be able to do backsplash and things like that. But other than that, it's really, really fast.
Hmm. I detect that you really love what you do.
I do. I absolutely love it. There's some crazy days, but honestly, Steve, I would not imagine doing anything else. I've been doing it for 10 years, and I love seeing something ugly turn beautiful because I have the vision, and then my contractors and my handymans, they have the hands to make it come true. And it's actually a really, really good place to be. I love it
Hmm.
absolutely.
I have to share with you. I just got a thought this morning. I've had houses built, bought houses, et cetera, et cetera. I don't do what you do, even close to. But this morning I was walking my dog. It was like seven something in the morning, and there was a tile truck that had pulled up maybe, I don't know, 100, 200 feet away, and I obviously dropping off tile. And I had that feeling of when I was having a project done and that just excitement that you have knowing that you're redoing something and you're doing it right and it's, call it custom or to your specifications. Honestly, I felt it as I'm standing with my dogs. Like, yeah, I remember those days. That just, it brought me back to that excitement. Do you still get that every single time you're working on a project?
Every single time, Steve. And it's crazy because I can see what the finished product is going to look like in my mind. And it's always totally different, but in a good way. Whenever the job is done, I'm like, wow, it looks even better than I even imagined. So it's always kind of like, first day of school giddy kind of that I feel whenever I see the finished product.
First day of school with new clothes. That's what I'm talking about.
That too, yes. New hairdo, new clothes with your new backpack, ready to make some friends.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm on your website. Share it with everybody, please.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me go ahead and do that. Do. I'm gonna do share. Oh, you have to turn it on, it says.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
Okay. Then while you
Can we
do
look at
that, I
some of
will
the
log.
things, some of the projects that I know you have some sold listings.
Yeah.
Maybe walk us through one or two of those that stand out in your mind.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and log in. All right, I'm looking at the website. All right, let me go ahead and get back to you then. Ooh, my goodness.
Or if not, we can just
All
pick a
right.
property and we just talk about it. I can look up and pick one. Um, just
Okay.
randomly pick one out there.
Okay, no, I got it. I can share it now. Okay, can you see?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, perfect. Uh, there's so many things up here. I apologize. I'm trying to make this bigger. Ooh,
We can see fine.
did I go? Okay, perfect. All right, so I don't know why it won't let me move it. There we go. It was just acting a little bit goofy. All right, so let me look at one of my projects that I can show you. Okay, let me show you. How about this one? This one is one of my favorite ones. All right, so this property, we bought it for $60,000. It's actually a unique property in itself. Ooh, it just went to the other property. It's not showing me the pictures. I apologize. I think because of all the rules that they have, they don't let you keep all the pictures on the listing, but it should be here.
Oh,
I
I can see
apologize.
the beginning, and we can describe that for people that are listening. This is looks to me like a one level wide, call it a ranch,
Style
brick
home.
brick on the front, right? It's got a
Yes.
carport going on there. Yeah, it's needs a considerable amount at this stage, TLC.
Yes, definitely. It only needed TLC, so we're able to get it for $65,000. We closed in, there was a weird little tiny carport and it was just kind of like useless space. So we closed it in and turned it into another bedroom.
Oh
It
wow.
was a Yeah, it was a two bedroom, one bath, and those are good, but for first time home buyers, it's preferably to have at least a third bedroom because they have a child or so, and it's if they don't have a child, even still, they have guests that are coming. They
Sure.
want to have one room for them to work, so it can be one for office, one for family, and then one for guests. So we were able to close that in, which was pretty cool. It didn't have any AC, so we had to basically restructure the roof. We put the AC handler on the roof, which I don't like, but there was no other way to do it. We
Hmm.
could not put it inside the home, so we kind of put it in the structure of the ceiling. So it was actually pretty cool because you can't sell a home for via the FHA program without AC, without updated electrical, new roof, things like that. So we actually did the new roof, we did the AC, updated the plumbing a little bit, painted inside and out, made it look beautiful. And I think we replaced the kitchen too because it was just old. Because this house was built in 1955. And believe it or not, 1955, they're not really modern. So we had to kind of modernize it a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely dated. There's no doubt
Yes.
there. And I'm trying to
Yes.
figure out I mean, from what I'm seeing, what's up with the two doors? There's like two doors almost right next to each other.
Yes. So that's we did that because in case also with the economy, a lot of people they rent one of their rooms as well. So
Okay.
we kind of whenever we get inside the home, we want to make sure that A, it's going to be good for the buyer, and then B, it's going to be good for what they might want to do with it. So if they, even if it's like a little mother-in-law suite, so it was like kind of like a mother-in-law suite slash office space, or they could just rent it out to a friend or a coworker because a lot of people are doing that right now to be able to afford
Sure.
the same prices of rent and mortgages. So just some thought that we thought about it. And actually the buyers loved it. They had a teenager that was just always wild and coming in and outgoing. So they said they love that the two doors. So that way they don't have to worry about waking up everybody in the
Mm,
home to get through it.
yeah. And bravo to you for taking that space where the carport was and turning that into another room. Um,
Yeah.
so after it was all done, what was the selling price and any other details you can give?
Yeah, so we bought it for 60. We put about 40 into it. Now, this was pre-COVID. So you can actually renovate 80% of the house for that cheap. Now that would be about 80 to 100,000, but we were actually able to sell it for 154.9.
Wow, I'll take it. Amazing, amazing. How about where you are, in and around the Lakeland area of Florida, getting permits, expediting that, moving that forward, is that a challenge at all?
It's not too much of a challenge. The one thing you have to do is ask for permission first. We tried to not ask for permission, it always smacks us in the face. So we just started asking for permission. If you pull the permit immediately as soon as you buy the home, it's actually fairly quick. But they have to stop you from pulling if they have to stop you from working and then pull the permit, they're kind of a little bit more asinine about it, excuse my French, because they're like, you didn't ask for permission first.
Mm,
And they feel like you're trying to get over on them. It's like, no, I just don't want to wait 3 weeks for a permit, but they don't understand that. So
yep.
that's why we just always ask for permission first now.
And I'm sure, if you don't ask in advance, it's like, well, we got to come out there and inspect again. We got, just adds more hurdles that you got to jump through to get it done.
Yes, and they're a little bit more pain in the neck for it, and they might want you to have two or three permits instead of just or two or three inspections instead of just the one. This guy, he's like, "Hey, you didn't ask for a permit. Okay, this is wrong." And then the next guy's like, "Well, it's actually fine." And then the next guy's like, "Well, the original one was actually right, but the second one was wrong." And it's like, "Okay, but there's literally nothing you can do because you're literally at their mercy."
I get it. I want to share with you, just it's kind of making me laugh with the permit situation. The house
Sure.
I sold recently, fairly recently, I renovated the backyard. I just love tropical. Got to go to Florida, and just
Nice.
palm trees, pavers, little gazebo. What else about hot tub under him, blah 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 blah. Right,
Right.
and I managed a lot of the project, and I did some of the electrical and wiring or whatever. So I got to get time to get the permits. Would you
Okay.
believe it wasn't a gazebo, it was a pergola? Would you believe that once they came into to do the inspection, they started taxing me on, I guess it's called a portico over the front, the porch of the house. It's not, it's like you
Oh,
walk up the steps and you go in the front door. So like they called it a stoop back in the day. It's just a cement. There was a
right,
thing that the previous homeowner put above it, just like, just a peak. I got
right.
taxed on that, but wait, there's more. They're
Oh,
able to tax you on the pergola, which I spent $1,500 for at Costco, which
oh
if I
gosh.
wanted to knock it down with a really good running start and just jam my body into it, I probably could take it down because it's just footings into the pavers. But
Right.
this is the best thing. This is New York. These are facts.
Oh
That's
no.
it. They're able to even tax you. I had a deck box, one of those Rubbermaid big ones where you put your cushions and, maybe pool furniture,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Tax you on that.
What? That's not even attached to the land.
I know. And I called up a council person who I know, from back in the day. I'm like, hey, did I mean to bother you? But what's going on? And she was in this town. That's where, her jurisdiction was. That's weird. Let me find it. She checked on it. It was accurate. They tax you for that.
Oh, that
Rubbermaid. It's crazy. It's crazy.
oh
Yeah. Yep.
no, no, it's not that bad here, but they do so let's say for instance, you buy a property, everything was done by the previous owner and it was done fine. Everything's okay.
Sure.
Perfect. Now you have it. You are responsible for anything and everything that the owner did or did not do on that property. So if they did an AC without a permit, especially if you're an inspector, they're really, really jerks about that. But if you're a regular homeowner, you buy a home, everything's okay. They did the AC without a permit, and now you're trying to replace that AC, they can kind of get you for that. They can say,
Wow.
well, AC was done without a permit, and now you want one with a permit. They can charge you double the fine for that.
Wow.
And yeah, and if by some chance there is a permit that was not closed, they can fine you for not having that permit closed. Although it was not yours, you didn't own it. This was 5, 10, 15 years ago. They can fine you for that. Now you have to get that permit closed. But before you do that, guess what? They're going to look at other stuff and say, oh, Joseph, now you have to pour a permit for everything because we see the windows was replaced without permit. The windows are not egress and a child cannot climb out of it in case there's a fire. They literally start penalizing you for that. And there's literally nothing you can do about it because as you bought the home, you're not responsible for it. Ain't that some
Wow.
BS?
Yeah, it's almost like the whole CO situation. If there wasn't a CO for it, now you got to get one, and I get it. Tell me
Exactly.
w the perfect person you're looking for. Somebody I would assume that is looking to sell a home, and give me like the geo around. We say Lakeland, but how far out would you go in terms of being interested in somebody selling their home?
Yes, I can go as far as 2 hours, maybe 3 hours away from Lakeland. So
Uh,
I'm about 45 minutes to an hour from Orlando, 45 minutes to an hour from Tampa. So an hour each direction from those two. And my perfect person is just someone that's like maybe a tired landlord, someone who inherited a property. They don't really care to fix it or do anything with it because most inherited properties are not in mint condition. They are a little bit older and they're
mm,
dated, or let's say they can't afford the mortgage payment because they have their own lives or they're out of state and they're like, well, I don't want to go to Florida as much as I love it, have my own life in New York or California. So they just want to sell it without any hassles of having to deal with a realtor, listing it, have 50,000 people walk through the home, lowball them, say, hey, before I buy it, I want you to fix this. The whole point of selling it as is so you don't have to fix anything. So that's my ideal client, someone who's just trying to get rid of their problem property, essentially.
gotcha. Yeah, and I totally see it. Something that was inherited, you're just hanging on to it, and now's the time.
Yeah.
Release it, bank on it. Um,
Exactly, release it. Because some people they don't know what to do with it and they sit on it and then the bank takes it because the mortgage is not being paid and there's no one to basically fight the battle. Or even if there is someone to fight the battle, unfortunately, through probate, it takes a while sometimes. If it's not like a clean cut deal, if there's no will in place, it could take a while. And in the meantime, guess what? The bank wants their money. And on top of that, you had to pay for the probate. That's where we come in. We'll help you pay for the mortgage payment. We'll help you pay for the probate. So that way, well, actually, we'll pay for the probate for you. So that way you can get rid of the property as fast as possible without you having to worry about losing that. And at least you get something out of it.
Mm. And for those thinking of, well, I'll just try and flip it myself. All I'm going to say there is it's not for everyone. And that backyard reno I did, and again, I was just very minimal in working on it, but I managed what with tradespeople coming in. It's just the backyard, okay. And I was working, a couple of jobs, and I was getting up early. This is only 2016 people, okay, and kids and everything. It gave me a legit ulcer. I'm not even kidding. I'm not. It's just that's why I'm putting that warning out there. You may think it's easy. Well, you know what? I'll just instead of selling, I'm gonna renovate it and then I'm gonna flip. Just be advised. It sent me to the hospital. I'm not even kidding. I'll never do it again.
It's a lot of work.
It's
It's
a lot of work.
definitely not as easy as it looks. It's very simple, yes, but it's not easy in the sense of you have to do, there's a lot of moving parts. And the
Yeah.
price that I'm going to pay to fix it is not the same price that you're going to pay to fix it
Point.
because I'm using these people over and over. So I'm getting the best deal using them one time. And most of the time, they're going to try to get rich off of you. So they might charge me 50, but they'll charge you 80 because they'll never see you again, and they'll take their
Mm,
sweet time too because you don't know how to do a legal contract saying, hey, it's going to take 45 days, I'll give you 60. It's going to take them 45 days with you, but they'll take 90 to 100 days. So there's a lot of moving parts, and we love contractors, but they got to charge you a little bit more. And
mm,
plus, people change their mind more than investors, if that makes any sense. Me, I have or at least our company, we have a different setups of the prices for the jobs that are being done. And
mm.
we say, hey, just do it this way. You're going to be like, I thought I wanted gray, but now I really want blue. Oh, I don't really like that color. It doesn't look as good. So you're making them redo things, and they call that a PITA fee, pain in the ass fee. So they're going to charge you that extra 10% right off
Yeah,
the bat.
the PETA, the
Exactly.
PETA price point, or
Yes.
in other circles, we also call it the pain and suffering surcharge. Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of work, so jack it up a little bit. You know what? I
That's
already
it.
convinced myself I would never, do a reno or anything like that. You just pushed it over the top because I wasn't even considering some of the things you said, but you said it before in that one of the people that you one of the trades that you work with that the prices are even cheaper than the big box stores, and those prices are usually the lowest that you're going to get typically depending on the quality, but just the average stuff. Yeah, I don't suggest it for anyone. Um, this is what you do. How do we find you? If somebody's looking to um, sell their home, or maybe they're looking to, move to that area, or maybe they're in that area, maybe they have a loved one, wants to see if you have anything available. How do we find you?
Yes, you can find me with my phone, 863-450-5914. You can contact me on Facebook, Instagram, Farah Gaston official, or you can even look at my website, jfdesignerhomes.com. So I'm available. Typically, I respond within 24 hours or sooner. And yeah, just contact me anytime.
Mm,
Or if you have any questions and you're like, I don't like the way this looks, can you help me? I can help with that too.
wow. Your energy and your passion is like over the top, and I love it. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Steve.
So great talking to you, Farah. I'm going to manifest it out there. Next time I come to Florida, I'm staying.
Okay, I love
And I'll look you
it.
up. Thank you for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.